All right. So this is worksheet 41. Still doing the mock exam. I saw some of you have done your work, some of you didn't. Okay, I wonder why you didn't do your work. It'll be good if you do all the questions and then show me the answer you're giving, because understanding the question and the standard answer is one thing. Writing your answer and letting me read your answer is another important part. If I don't read your answer, I don't know how to advise you, okay, on how to improve. How did my students improve? Nitin, you have to understand this part also. How did my students improve? When they try the tutorial question, Miss Tay will read every single answer, right? And then I will give advice accordingly. Because your style of writing is definitely going to be different from the model answer. I prefer to look at student style of writing. All right. Okay, so let's continue. Question 1. It is observed that squirrels store a large number of nuts during winter. Yeah, because during winter, they have to store a lot of food, they hibernate, etc. They hide in their caves, etc. They hide in the trees where their home is. So they don't come out because it's too cold. So if they don't want to leave their comfortable, warm home, they have to make sure there's a lot of food there, right or not? Okay, so they store a lot of food during winter. And when you go out in the winter, where do you find food? There's no food for you to look for. Yep, so this is what they will do. Animals tend to store a lot of food. Oh, Jakai, no problem. Jakai, yours is a different case. I'll explain to you later. You just look at this one. Okay, because you should be attempting the Tuesday one. Yeah, because your name is not put here. Later, I'll explain to you. No problem. Okay, you just listen. Jakai, listen first. Now, okay, what did I say? It is observed that squirrels store a large number of nuts. Okay, the bottom part of the nut tastes bitter. Okay, so they often only eat the nuts halfway. So do they eat the bitter part, or do they eat the non-bitter part? What do you think? Because I have students who are also not clear, no? Yeah, correct. If it's very bitter, nobody will like it, isn't it? Okay, if the food is too bitter, none of us like to eat bitter gourd, I think. Some of us like to eat it, but many of you wouldn't like to eat it. Have y'all seen bitter gourd before? Yeah, in Chinese they call it 苦瓜, right? It's very, very bitter. Okay, but apparently some people do like it a lot. Right, so these animals here, they're not going to eat the very bitter part of the nut. So they often eat it halfway. Okay, so when winter turns to spring, the half-eaten nuts, that means the leftover, it is the bitter part, can still germinate and grow into young plants. So these are the keywords that you should be highlighting in every question. The key points or the key ideas they have given you. So underline all this. Then after that, think of the possible reasons why the half-eaten nuts can still germinate and grow into young plants. How do they actually germinate and grow into young plants? Okay, so you have to start thinking, what is germination and what are the factors that actually affect germination? Ziying just shared that her father loves bitter gourd. Yeah, I do like them also actually. Okay, so what are the factors that affect germination? Quickly, those of you finish exam, you still have to answer because you are working towards PSLE. Your exam finished for P5. You have not completed your exam for your primary school. Okay, good. Thank you, Irene. Irene responded very fast. Wayla, yes. Okay, so what is that term that we use, the abbreviation to help us remember that? Wow factor is very good. So you need to remember the wow factors. So we are talking about water, oxygen, and warmth. So when we talk about warmth, is usually also known as suitable temperature, because our warmth might not be different from people who are overseas, who are from the very, very cold country in the north, right? So if you are talking about warmth to them, they might think that is extremely hot. Our warmth is actually, they are very, very hot because they are living in a very cold place, -10, -20, you never know. Okay, dependent on where they are. So their temperature and our temperature very different. Their normal temperature and our normal temperature is different. Therefore, okay, if you are talking about warmth, it might differ. So you will see in many books, they talk about suitable temperature, right? So your teacher might also talk about suitable temperatures. Some schools I know, they ask students to write down suitable temperature for germination rather than warmth. Okay, but if you are asking me now, Miss Day, then how should I answer it? Writing down water, oxygen, and warmth will be enough. Okay, the wow factors. Because we're answering in terms of Singapore context. Remember, PSLE takes place only in Singapore. Now, so what do you think will be the answer? Can it be option A here or statement A here? They get light to germinate. Is light required for germination? It is not. Okay, so they get light to germinate. This is not true. In the dark, seeds can also germinate. Okay, statement B, there is food stored for the young plant. What do you think? Do you think this is an important factor here? Can still germinate? Okay, yeah, Irene, you mentioned that. That's good. Okay, photosynthesis means need light, but germination, no need. Yeah. So there is food store for the young plant. After germination, after germination, there is a very young plant, the shoots, right? Okay, the tiny seedlings, right? They need food. So if there is no food store for the young plant, okay, then germination, even if it takes place, the plant will immediately die. Okay, because you must look at this part here, grow into young plants, right? So the food store helps to satisfy this condition, grow into young plants. Now, the baby plant is found at the bottom of each nut, okay, because the bottom part, which is the bitter part, see, bottom part is bitter, right? So there must be the baby plant inside. What is the meaning of baby plant? I'm going to show you very quickly. Okay, this is the baby plant that we are talking about. All right, and then later I will send you this link to watch the video, okay, for germination. Okay, so if you are going to look at a peanut, this is actually a peanut. How many of you actually will follow my habit? You will split open the peanut first, or you just dump the whole thing in your mouth? Actually, I like to split it up. And how many of you have this habit of eating this part first? I do, you know. I love to eat that part first because it's the crunchiest part and it has a special taste. Okay, I found another few students in the Tuesday class, they also do that. They got so excited when we talk about how we eat peanuts, you know. They started sharing how they eat it. Some of them say they don't eat this part. They actually remove it and they only eat the seed leaves. Okay, so this is known as a seed leaves. I hope you guys know. All right, so one side is seed leaf, two sides together. If they are pointing to two sides of it, then you have to talk about plural form, seed leaves. Okay, this labeling is also important. Now, so the food store is actually in the seed leaf. Then you have the seed coat, that is the protective layer. The embryo is the baby plant. So this part here is the baby plant. Okay, and it's going to grow. It's going to grow into a plant. Clear? So this is the baby plant. Now, so this is correct. This is correct as well. There is warmth for germination when winter turns to spring. Winter is extremely cold. When you actually reach the season where it's spring, it's warmer. So these are all correct. Okay, so those of you who actually made the mistake, I hope you understand now. Okay, let's go on. Okay, question 2. Following flowchart shows transportation of water and food. This question is nice to you because they actually tell you which arrow shows movement of water, which arrow shows movement of food. I have seen in many questions, they don't tell you. They expect you to figure out on your own. Okay, so they want you to see, okay, this substance move from Q to the stem and then will move to P as well as R. Okay, then after that, you are supposed to try to figure out, you know, okay, from R, something goes out and this thing goes to P as well as Q. So which part should be R, which part should be P, which part is actually Q. Are you able to identify? Okay, so I've seen questions like that. All right, in the open-ended, they want you to identify this arrow as well as this arrow also. What does it represent? Okay, so take note, if you are asked that kind of question without the key given, you have to be very sharp. So what is the answer here? Okay, Q is over here, and then there is this dotted line, which is water. Water is transported from Q to the stem. Then from the stem, water goes to P and R. Okay, so Q must be the roots, isn't it? Because roots is responsible for taking in water, one of its function. What are the other functions of the roots? Do you remember? Quickly write it down. What are the other functions of the roots? Anchor what? Sang-kun? Hold the plant firmly to the ground. Anchor the plant to the ground. Yes. Okay. Yeah. So it will help the plant stay in the ground. Right. Does it help the plant to stand upright? No. What is the function of that? Because students actually mixed up. Okay. Which part of the plant is responsible? Yes. Very good. So it's the stem that is responsible for helping the plant to stand upright. Good. So you all know lah. Wonderful. So this is the roots. What do you think is P and what do you think is R? And give me a reason. Give me a reason. What is P? What is R? R, okay. Jakai, any reason to support your claim? Yeah, Zikin, thank you. Very good. Okay, so yeah, this should be the flower. This should be the leaf. Okay, so the leaf makes food. So you see that food actually moves from the leaf to the stem, and then the food also goes to part P as well as part Q. So it goes to the roots. And what is left, because every option here only talk about roots, leaves, and flowers. So you only have 3 parts to consider. Yeah, so therefore, okay, flower, Zikin actually told me because P takes in water as well as food. So it has got to be the flowers of the plant. That is correct. So if you are supposed to answer this way, claim, evidence, and reasoning, or reasons. Okay, so you make a claim. Q is actually the roots. That's a claim. What evidence can you write down? Now, year end, we're going to practice a lot of this CER writing, you know, writing your claim, then writing evidence, and then giving me the scientific reason or factors or facts. Understand? So if you are supposed to write down the claim, for example, you claim that, okay, Q is actually roots, you must tell me what is the evidence. Evidence, how do you get evidence? Evidence you get from the question. So evidence is water, okay? Something like that, a very quick one. But of course, we don't write goes to lah, transport or water moves from Q to stem and then to P and R. So this is the evidence. So what is the reasoning? Somebody give me the reasons. Because after you write a claim, then you write evidence. What is your reason? Jakai, what do you think, Jakai? What kind of reasons would you write down? Do you know that writing the correct reason will determine or will ensure you get the second mark? Usually when it comes to a claim evidence reasoning question, right, it's 2 marks. with your claim and evidence, you get 1 mark.